Hi guys, so today we're having a look at the NYX Sugar Trip Squad eyeshadow palette. This retails for $22 or £18, although I just went on the NYX website to check the price and they've currently got it marked down to $14.40. Grr. But this is a 12 pan eyeshadow palette and you can see it's quite an unusual range of colours for, for a drugstore palette. So there's 2.3 grams in each shadow, and yeah, I really was drawn to just the unusual colour combination in this. It unfortunately does not have a mirror, so maybe not the most ideal travel palette, and yeah, so we've got a couple of fantastic like shimmery glittery shades and then a lot of mattes, and they're just kind of unusual colours that you wouldn't think about really, you wouldn't default towards placing together, specifically like, this kind of blue and this kind of lilac beside these oranges. It's a bit weird. I mean, I guess that section looks a bit like a traditional quad, but yeah, so I really like the look of a lot of things in this collection. This is all I've picked up so far, but let's see how we get on with applying the eyeshadow. Right, so I am all prepped. My primer is on. It is the NYX Proof It primer, and I am going to be brave and I'm going to see how this kind of matte buttery tone works out as a brow bone colour. It might be too dark. If it is, I've got my normal one on standby to kind of soften things out a little bit. Blended out, that looks okay. It's just a little bit more pigmented than normal, but we'll see how it looks once I've got everything else on, and if I need to kind of, share it out with something else, I will. I mean, when I first put it on, let's zoom you right in, because you don't really want to see my horrible skin during this tutorial, and it's still, being really aggravated. But see, it's kind of much more yellow, but it blends out really nicely into a much more skin-toned shade, will we say. And oh good, it's going to be one of those days where my camera wants to go out of focus every time I look at this palette. Yeah. Right, so colour-wise, there's so many colours to choose from in this palette that I'm a little bit overwhelmed. Oh my god. Okay. I think I want to play with these two in the crease. And then I might actually just go really bold and do this for the lid. So okay, yeah. So I've got a Spectrum B04. It's a fluffy angled brush. I like this for my crease, and actually I'm going to go into this guy as a bit of a transition shade first. Do these have names? No, they're just numbered. Oh well, okay. So yeah, so I'm just going to get a bit of that in as a transition shade, see how that goes. So I really like the look of a lot of the stuff in this collection, but the boots near me that had it in, I was a little bit late, will we say, getting in there, and I'm just grabbing a fluffier Alaska brush for this. A little bit late getting in there, and it was pretty picked over, and I couldn't even see spaces for some of the things that I wanted. Like that marshmallow fluff lip oil that looks all kind of holographic-y, iridescent-y. That looks amazing. I want that. But I might have to just bite the bullet and put in an order and just get it. Because there's loads of NYX stuff I want that I can't find right now. Like the Midnight Chaos collection. Or there's one about mechanics or something. Anyway, they've got loads of cool stuff out just now. So going into that kind of, I was going to say paler, but more pinky than burgundy shade. And I'm going to blow that out quite a lot actually, because I want to be able to see this shade and the really dark shade when I'm finished. Right, so then into the deeper plummy burgundy. I've got too many things in my hand and I just killed my mascara. So I'm going to wipe my brush off just a little bit, make sure there's not too much of that pink left on it, and going into that dark shade. Now this is the darkest shade in this palette, so the only one I would say is a true dark colour, and it looks like there's little bits of shimmer through it. So let's see how that, you know, transfers onto the skin. Okay, it's coming off pretty matte actually, so that's good. If it came off really shimmery, that would be a little bit disappointing. I don't really love a palette that you can't get a full use out of, like a full look from. It just kind of bugs me slightly, especially when it's quite a large palette, which this is. I mean, it's 12 shades, but it's just, they're quite large pans, so it comes out quite large. You wouldn't want to travel with a palette this large if you weren't going to get a full look out of it. That's my opinion anyway, so that looks cool. So next step is the one where I'm worried I might be about to completely mess up this look, but we'll see. Yeah, but I'm gonna bring that burgundy in on the outer edge of the lid just a little bit more than I had. So then we're going to go in and do a little bit of a cut crease, which I know is being like crazy popular on YouTube and everybody's doing them, but I quite like them and it's what I want to do. So I'm not going to go in with concealer because, to be honest, it doesn't really work for me. I'm just going to go back in with the primer. Kind of get that on there and then like open my eye up like a scary thing, and then you can kind of see where your cut crease area is, and same on the other side. So see that little imprint line it gives you there? Right, and I'm just going to quickly wipe off the doe foot applicator before I stick that back into my eyeshadow primer, because I don't want to get a dark purple tinted one. And then I'm just going to kind of pat that out a little bit, because I don't want hundreds of primer making it crease because it's too wet. And then I'm so excited about this colour. I'm going into this one. In fact, I'm going to go into the lime green first, just because it's I guess a little bit of a lighter shade, and we're going to do the very inner corner area with that. Now that is a nice punchy colour. That's crazy. I like it. And making sure that you're getting that kind of, you can kind of just see where the primer is. It still marks it out nicely for you, but at the same time, if you missed a tiny bit, it's not going to be obvious like it would be with concealer. Right, and then I'm just going to flip my brush and go into the crazy teal blue shade, which is very pretty, and just fill in the rest of that area, and just flip your brush back and forth to do a little bit of blending, although that didn't work because some of the blues went around the edge of my brush. Dropped. Just going to quickly grab my blending brush, knock off some of that purple, and just quickly use that to go over the joins in the colour on the lid. Just wiping that brush a little bit because I want to go back into the lime green and intensify that a little bit more, because I feel like it lost a little something there. Right. So with things like this, you end up going backwards and forwards just a little bit till you're totally happy with how it looks. But yeah, that's my slightly crazy eye look for just now. I'm going to go and put my foundation and things on and come back and decide if I want to do anything on the lower eyes. But for just now, these colours are so bright and pigmented, and they are so nice and blendable and easy to work with. So let's see how it goes. Right, I'm back. I don't think I do want to do anything on the lower lash line. The lips, by the way, are the Full Throttle lipstick in number 5 from NYX, and I think I do want to brighten up the brow bone area just a little bit. It's just a tiny bit too yellow, so I'm going to go into my eternal favourite Makeup Obsession Pearl and just delicately try and brighten that up more to my skin tone. See, that's better. And same again on the other side. So lesson learned, if you're as pale as me, you probably won't quite get away with using that shade as a brow bone shade. So, oh well, we live, we learn, all that jazz. So I'm really loving this eye look. I'm glad I've done something a little bit more unusual. I haven't played with colour properly in quite a while. I am a little bit kind of late getting up and getting ready today. It is 1:30 at the point where I'm doing this, but I don't think I have plans for an early night later anyway, so we'll still get a decent wear test out of this. I went a little bit bigger on my winged liner, but I like it. So far what I think is missing from this palette is either a true brow bone shade or something kind of highlighty. I really wanted something for my inner corner that I don't have in here. The true shimmery shades in here are the lime green, a pink, and an old gold kind of colour. Even if there'd been a white shadow, I would have mixed that with the lime green and got like a shimmery inner corner highlight. So actually, I'm just going to give myself one anyway. For my face highlight, I just used the Emerald from the Alchemy palette, and I'm just going to tap it on for my inner corner highlight as well, because I just think the look could do with one. So yeah, that is my finished look. So we will see how these behave throughout the day. Being NYX, I'm expecting them to behave really, really well, but we just want to be thorough. So I will be back. We'll see how this goes. Right, I'm back. It is 10:25, so I've had this makeup on for 9 hours, and as you can see, the colours are still really nice and bright and vibrant. It looks maybe a little bit more blended than when I started out the day, but that's no bad thing. You can still distinctly see the blue, the lime green, the darker burgundy, and the pinkier colour around the edges, and they're all just still really nice and vibrant. Now, I will say that I had high hopes with this palette going in. So I've been a huge fan of the NYX Ultimate Brights palette for quite some time. So I was really hoping it would live up to that expectation, and it did. These, to me, are really, really smooth. They're easy to work with. They're really blendable. I didn't have loads of fallout. I didn't have loads of kickback. And they've just lasted really well. There are a couple in here that I forgot to mention are labelled as being pressed pigments rather than eyeshadows, and it is numbers 3, 6, 7, 9, and 11. So, did I use any of those? No, I didn't. Okay. No, I didn't use any of the pressed pigments at all. So maybe I should have to really look into this. But anyway, at the moment, I love this palette. It is firmly in, you know, the good buy category. If I was magical and in charge of the universe, maybe I would tweak things slightly. I think I would make this a bit lighter so it was something that you could actually use as the brow bone colour. And then with the kind of orangey shades, I don't think you really need all three of these in one palette. Like, I don't know. I feel like you could have mixed these two to get something close to this, and yeah, I just don't know. I don't think I'm ever going to have occasion to need that many different shades of orange all in one palette. I would have preferred to see maybe a black, because they're just very useful, or, you know, a shimmery iridescent duochrome white would have been amazing and fit in with the whole sugar trip kind of thing. But I'm not in charge, so, you know, I'm not designing palettes. But overall, I love it. I love the variety of colour, and I really look forward to playing with this. And I think if you're somebody that wants to experiment with colour and you feel that you're kind of doing the same things over and over again, a palette like this is a really good idea, because, like I said earlier, it's not colours that you traditionally think of as going together. It doesn't look like, you know, some palettes have like that whole cohesive thing going on where there's like, you can see where you would go and be like, oh, well, obviously they go together. I mean, like the Starstruck palette from H&M, you know, it's quite all kind of cool tones, and you've got a lot of mattes to work with, and you've only got a couple of shimmers that, you know, oh, well, these are going to be my lid colours and so on. This is not quite that structured, and I think that makes you kind of think outside the box a bit more, do something a little bit different, because they're not quite as predetermined, I guess you could call it. But I love this palette. I can see myself reaching for it a lot. If you've got any questions about it, leave those down below. Also, if you want to see any of the other things from this collection, like I said, I am pretty interested in buying a lot of it. Yeah, and you know, while some of these are labelled as pressed pigments and some are labelled as eyeshadows, it's the same thing with the Ultimate Brights palette. So, you know, I'm quite happy, even though I haven't tried the pigments, to say I still really like this palette. It's up to NYX's normal standards, and I love their eyeshadows. So I will catch you guys next time, and yeah, until then, bye.